Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, there's just 261 days until Christmas 2022, and we're going to have a fun discussion today with our friend Meg. And Meg, how are you doing today?
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's very good. I've got a couple of surprises that I've prepared ahead of time, and I think folks here will enjoy it. We'll let some more folks join us before we get to the real fun stuff. So, hey Santa, you're interrupting opening day. Yes, today is opening day for baseball here in the United States. I've never been a big baseball fan. My grandfather was a fan of the Cincinnati Reds, so I knew of them because every time I went to his house, he was watching it. But other than that, I got nothing. Hey, and I did get notice we have a new Patreon supporter joined us. Thank you so much for that. And let me see. I got the notice here. I saw Dale Erdman. His membership is here. James Stewart just joined, and Will Morgan is in the chat. I saw Will did another Meta Egg short today for the Peacemaker. It was actually really, really good. And our friend Mike Porter was the impetus to start that. So that was great. Did anybody see Santa in the new Lego game impersonating Padme?
Oh, I saw that. That was funny.
I have.
They basically made Corday this guy with a beard, and then the whole thing is that he says, "I am Amidala."
Yes, that was in the. I saw that in like the. One of the playthroughs. I think maybe I was watching Star Wars Theory. When he got to that part. And I saw it, and it wasn't that in the trailer for it as well.
I don't remember it being in the trailer.
Okay, then it must have been.
It must have been like an inside joke amongst the developers.
Yes, I've heard that there are a number of them in the game, and there's one of my favorite clips that I have seen this week. I've got to show it here on the stream. We got Meg, the ice cream marshal, playing here. Let's play this clip. I clipped this from your Lego play review earlier this week, and I absolutely love this scene. So let me play it. I did it as a clip, and let's see.
Well, as Ayla Sakura, I was the ice cream police. The minute I saw someone eat an ice cream, I made sure their day was made a lot less sweet. Oh look, a Cad Bane-looking fella licking a cold one. You, not on my watch. Oh look, there's another one. Well, as Ayla
absolutely.
Well, here's a little tease tomorrow. I'm going to be releasing a bunch of more footage, but this time it's Yaddle. And Yaddle is the broom police. She doesn't like road sweepers.
Road sweepers. Meg, this was the highlight of my day when I saw this, and I had to clip it, and because it's a
Sakura,
clip,
I was the
it'll just play over and over again.
The minute I saw someone eat an ice cream,
I
made sure their day was made a lot less sweet. Oh look, a Cad Bane-looking fella licking a cold one.
Not on my watch.
You, not on my watch. Oh look, there's another one. Well, as Ayla Sakura,
and then it
was ice cream police. The minute I saw someone,
I know it was great, so much fun, and yeah, this absolutely could be a Meg short if you were to do the YouTube shorts. It says 15 seconds long, but it's so much fun. I
think I've got an echo.
You got an echo. Let me check mine here. Hold on. Echo. No, my echo cancellation is on. You might be hearing. Is it still doing it?
I can hear my own voice, like doubled.
Okay, so you're getting it on your end. Under the microphone icon, there's a little switch for echo cancellation. Is yours
I've got it toggled on. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear any echo from you, and I don't think. Oh, it was because I was sharing my screen. Okay. All right. So it had to do. It was my fault, Meg. I think we're good. Oh no, she's still hearing it. Okay. Meg is fine. Yeah, we're all we're it's all good on our end. I think she's dropping out. She'll be right back. So we've got other Star Wars news to talk about. It says Echo is gone. You're all good. Good now. We'll wait for Meg to come back. I think I can hear you, Meg.
Oh, can you?
Yeah. Can you, are you still echoing?
I don't believe so, but I think my OBS thing has dropped out, unfortunately.
It did drop out. So if you can get that back up, that'd be fine. If not, we'll live with it. But yeah, they
find
said
a
it
way.
was because I was screen sharing that was causing the feedback loop. So we can, let me kill that over here, and maybe that'll help. All right. Okay, so we've got you're not hearing an echo. They're not hearing an echo. I think we're all good. There's a lot of news from this week, and you want to go most recent to earliest, or earliest to most recent?
Whichever you prefer.
Okay, well, let's go earliest to most recent. I think I've got it queued up in that order. And the first was the Mandalorian season 3. It wrapped, and I think that may have been late last week even, but that news came out. Good news for all of us going into Celebration.
Mhm.
Hopefully we'll get a release date, and hopefully it'll be this year. Let's see. Oh, okay. King James, you signed up under your real name. How do you link the two accounts? Oh, there she is.
All right, I think I couldn't find the other picture. It kind of just disappeared, but we'll go for the Nabulak.
I like it. I like it. And the updated hat. That's a different hat than I've seen before.
It is.
So yeah, let's hope that we get a late December release with Mandalorian season 3. Do you have any gut feeling for when we might get episode 1?
I don't think I heard you.
Meg, not hearing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. What's your gut tell you for Mandalorian season 3? Will we get an episode this year, or will it be January next year?
I think this year.
Yeah, I hope
this year
so.
For sure.
Yeah, that's when we've gotten the other 2 seasons and the spinoff for Book of Boba Fett. And so, yeah, I hope that we get an announcement. And we do know there's a Mando, what do they call it? The session at Celebration.
Mando Plus.
Yeah, Mando Plus. So there's a Mando Plus session that a lot of people are really excited about because it's hosted by Favreau and Filoni, right?
Indeed.
And I think they mentioned there's a guest or many guests going to be part of that panel.
Yeah, they said there would be a few others as well. I imagine it's the usual suspects like Rick and Bryce and Peyton.
That would be great. The other directors. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. And that panel is, correct me if I'm wrong, that panel's Saturday?
Yes, Saturday the 28th. And then Sunday is Bad Batch.
Yes. So I was listening to the Den of Nerds this morning. I was listening to Josh. I saw you in the chat there as well. And Josh had a best case, worst case scenario for this panel. And did you catch that? His best case, worst case?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine.
I may have been focusing on the chat.
Yeah, he his best case scenario was that Kathleen Kennedy comes, she introduces John and Dave, and exits stage left, and John and Dave take the panel from there. They lead the whole thing, and we get all kinds of updates, information, so on about the future of not only the Mandalorian, but Disney projects, including movies, and that they would be involved with some movie project that's yet to be announced, even perhaps Mandalorian based movie would be announced through that panel.
I actually very much agree with that.
His worst case scenario was that they don't acknowledge any kind of issues or change of direction. The sky is clear and everything's golden and rosy in the fandom, and they just kind of chat about the Mandalorian.
No, that's not going to happen. So I've heard, this is something I'm going to make a video about tomorrow. I've heard that they're going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett because it's pretty much a certainty that we're getting a season 2. And that's, I believe, is going to be announced during that panel. And we might also hear about other projects as well. Like, I've really liked this theory that there's going to be phases of the Mandoverse, and phase 1 could end with like a movie, and that could spawn a Thrawn series, after Ahsoka.
That would be fantastic.
But I think Boba Fett's really going to be a big highlight at Celebration, from what I've heard.
Oh, that'd be good. If you're right about having guests like Bryce and Rick, and perhaps we'd even get Taika, right? And Taika could give us an update on his movie. That'd be good.
Maybe. It might be a bit early because that's 2025.
Yeah. I mean, they announced it and all we saw was a logo. Was like a Schoolhouse Rock kind of logo, but we don't know a diddly about it, right?
Yeah.
And the question on the beard, it grows this way. This I don't color it. I don't do anything to it. It just grows white. It's natural. And
I saw someone mention Luke Ahsoka.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I prefer Ahsoka tan.
Ahsoka tan. Oh.
So it's Ahsoka with Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan. I don't know. I'm not a shipper.
Neither am I. I'm just having fun with it.
I know you are. I know. The Luke. Well, and why wouldn't it be? What is? Ahsoka Rin. How do you? Sabine and Ahsoka. How would you mash those together?
Oh, that's difficult. But you're asking how you would mash those two together is a different question.
Like Luke Ahsoka, like Ahsoka Tan. What would be the mashup of their names? Not the characters.
Sabino Renoka.
I would think since they're going to spend more time together, it might be that way.
You think Sabine and Ahsoka will get together?
No, I don't. I think it's more.
I don't think Lucasfilm have the balls to do that. I'd love if they did, but
she already had a love interest earlier, and it was. I mean, she could be bi, I suppose, but
Ahsoka or
Ahsoka when she was a teen.
The guy from Ryloth.
Yeah, and then he wasn't exactly interested in her.
That's actually a character from Attack of the Clones.
Saboba, different guy.
Saboka as well. They're both from the same species. Sebulba and Saboka.
Oh, okay. Sebulba. Was that his girlfriend, Saboka?
No, Saboka was a Hollywood star, a Holovid star.
Oh, I see.
Yes, Lux Bonteri. Thank you, Roland.
Lux. Yeah. So Ahsoka had an interest in Lux, but he wasn't as interested in her. And you could see she was a little envious, a little jealous. And then was it Yoda who kind of said, you need to check your feelings, or was it I want to think it was Yoda.
Sounds like
Who
something
kind
Yoda
of
would do.
noticed, right? Who kind of noticed that she was taking, yeah, that he was taking an interest in somebody else, and said, check your feelings, young.
Yoda's a bit of a hypocrite because we all saw him call that private meeting between himself and Yaddle, and she walked out of that room very, very differently to the way she walked in. And then she sat down and said, "Walk for a week, I can't."
No, she speaks normally, right? Or was
Actually,
she just so
in canon,
overtaken that?
they've well, in the Lego game, they've reverted it back to how Yoda speaks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't catch that part. I saw where you unlocked her and she was speaking normally. I didn't catch her speaking
Oh,
Yoda-ese.
you know what? It's very inconsistent. I'll show you because tomorrow I'm releasing the gameplay, so you'll see that at times she speaks normally, but other times she doesn't.
Okay.
She's a very
All
chill
right.
person. She tends to give compliments to everyone who walks past. And the hilarious thing
Daryl.
is that I'll destroy like an entire village using Yaddle. That sounded more aggressive than it did in my head. But I'll destroy a whole village as Yaddle, and then she'll say something like, "This was a real blessing, thank you," or something like that. She's a bit of a psycho.
Well, maybe it's the person who's playing the character that makes it that way. Just saying.
Yeah, maybe.
It could have something to do with it. So anyway, I think getting an update from John and Dave with guests, perhaps Carl Weathers, because he was involved in directing an episode or so, right? And Bryce and others. That's going to be the panel that folks are really desperately going to want to get into. I suspect that the tickets are for Saturday. I think those have been sold out for some time, and I suspect the line to get in will be established early, and it'll be long. It'll take folks waiting in line probably sometime Friday to get in to that panel Saturday.
The longer the queue, the harder the tug.
I mean, Grogu came from somewhere, right?
You would think so.
I still like the theory that the species as a whole are force created. There's something to do with. There's Elvis saying it'll be a lottery system to stop that. Perhaps that'd be good. But for those of us who can't go, we'll have to live vicariously through the internet, the interwebs, the YouTube machines, or whatever the case is, to be able to watch that. And I don't know if they will have anything in there that is celebration specific, where you only get to see it if you're in the room. I haven't heard of anything like that, but that's going to definitely be a really, really popular panel. And I think we're all going to be anxious to see what comes of it. So there's that. The other, let's just working through the news again, kind of backward forward, is Jude Law is cast in a mystery series. Bespin Bulletin covered it. And I think this is one of those, and you said, take it with just a grain of salt, right?
Mm-hmm.
The source for the story is 50-50 at best. And they cover more of like gossip, celebrity gossip. And this came from them. So, and they didn't name Jude Law explicitly. It was sort of just left in a hint, and then they extrapolated all of that out, right?
Exactly. I think it's a possibility. He'd work quite well in a completely different era of Star Wars. Especially with his beard, he looks like a majestic Jedi.
Yeah, and people, the series that he speculated to working on is the one associated with the High Republic, and that is been talked as a kind of what's the show that it's a kind of influenced by? Um,
Stranger Things.
yeah, Stranger Things. But he gives me more of a vibe of a professor or a teacher, and maybe it's because of his involvement in the Harry Potter franchise. And so maybe my brain is kind of locked in that way, but it gives me more of a like a young Jedi Academy vibe than it does a Stranger Things kind of vibe. But that's all based on hearsay and rumor, nothing concrete. Again, we go back to Celebration. Do you think we'll get anything in Celebration? Like the panels I've heard, I haven't seen anything concrete around this project. The closest I've seen are the High Republic authors are going to be there for a discussion, but I don't see anything around this this project.
It's a tough one because we don't know how much they're leaving out of these announcements. I've kind of learned to take Lucasfilm very literally at their word because they tend not to, give us as many big surprises as we hope. Like when they say they're literally going to have a panel that's going to be a live action panel for Kenobi, Mando, and Andor, and then of course a separate one which is going to focus just on The Mandalorian, and on the Sunday we've got Bad Batch. I think those are the projects they're going to give us.
Yeah, you make a really good point because there have been multiple times fan speculation that Lucasfilm's going to tell us this or that or the other thing, and it never comes to fruition. They're always very literal on they tell us what they say they're going to tell us, and they've told us what the panels are, who the panelists are, and to try to read in that there's going to be additional. Say example with the Mandalorian Plus panel, we don't know that there's going to involve any announcements of movies or anything like that. It could literally be Mandalorian season 3, a review of season 1, 2, some discussion of that for sure, but some talk of Mandalorian season 3 and bringing on guests from, like you mentioned, Bryce or Carl Weathers or such that were involved in directing some episodes, and that could be it.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I think I'm echoing again.
Oh, you're not echoing for me. So let's see if anybody. Oh, it's every time I share this. Hold on. Let me stop this. Hold on. Let me stop this. I'm gonna can it. Let me see if I can get rid of it, and then I'm gonna add it back. But I had said when I shared it, I shared the audio as well, and I think that's what's causing the problem. So now, do you have echo? Speak now.
No.
No echo. Okay, now if I share this, echo now?
I probably will echo. No, I'm not.
Ah, okay. Are we back?
I think so.
Aha. I think it was me. I've been talking and talking, and so now it's back. Now it's back. Is there an echo now if you speak?
I don't think so.
Okay. So I think we've got it worked out. I think we've got it worked out. I was messing around with the way we were sharing the content. So get back here to I just asked. I know there's a Sheev the Wise meetup out there for celebration. Neither Meg nor myself are able to make it. So and I do know Zuvium, Martin Keeler, he's going to be out there. Have we gotten any confirmation for Darth Elvis? Is Darth Elvis going to be in the building? I know he's been to several other celebrations. It would be great to have him there as well. And there's going to be a Sheev the Wise meetup out there. So I think some of our friends here are going to be around. So if you guys are going to be out there, go look for Sheev the Wise, his meetup. I think that's a good way to be there.
Knights of
Oh,
Melvin
no.
says I'm toxic, and I'm proud to say that might be true to some extent.
You think? No, come on now. That is I can't see anybody thinking that your content is toxic. I think it's honest. Yeah, I think your content is honest in that you, the things that you like, you're not ashamed to say, and the things you don't like, you don't have a problem telling us why. But I don't think it's toxic at all.
I don't
Even
think
when
it's
we
toxic.
disagree.
I think I'm toxic, but my content maybe not so much. I hold back. I scribble out the bits that might be. I'm joking, by the way.
I know you are. I know you
I'm
are.
definitely toxic in the Lego game. I had Yaddle
Yes.
destroy half of Naboo.
You did. Don't have an ice cream when Meg's around. She'll have none of it. She'll have none of it. So the Andor. So there was some speculation that there might be an Andor trailer at Celebration, but I've since heard that no, that's not happening. Um, are you on any wavelength there?
I personally have been told there is going to be an Andor teaser of some kind at Celebration. They really moved forward a lot with the Andor series, and I was speaking to Sheev the Wise last week about it, and there are some things coming in this show that's going to blow people away. Really, some
I
huge things. And
so
I
I was
think
going to ask.
Adria Arjona, who did an interview, she was talking about it. She was saying, like, there's so many things she wished she could say.
Yeah, there was maybe I got it confused with some speculation that Kenobi was going to be a cameo in like the first episode or something like that, and I think it was I want to think it was Jason Ward who said no, not in episode one. He has no indication that
Mhm.
Ewan McGregor was involved in any way with Andor. I
Yeah,
don't think that we
he's
can
right.
say for sure, but I wonder about other possible cameos in Andor, and this is one of the things I just wanted to throw out there. What do you think, or would be the possibility of seeing somebody like Ryder from Rebels? Ryder in live action. I know we were thinking maybe seeing him in the Bad Batch as a cameo, but what about Ryder showing up in any live action?
Well, first of all, I think what I know, and I think this is, you're going to hear it from me first, and then come the time of the Andor series, there'll be all these rumors that come out about it. There are definitely a bunch of Star Wars Rebels, references and even characters. I don't know how much or to what extent they're going to use those characters. It might just be at the end to give us like a little tease of some kind, but I definitely know this is like a Rebels dream come true. You're going to see a different side, I think, of the rebellion, and also more of like the kind of core of it. Like, I think they're going to expand like Saul Guerrero before his, appearance in Rogue One, and like the more extreme factions. But you're also going to see kind of like some of our heroes working alongside Cassian, and then it just kind of begs the question: where was Cassian in Star Wars Rebels? I don't know about specific characters like Ryder or anything like that, but I do know that they do have some plans for. And also the special guest I recently had on my Patreon,
Right?
she's actually helped me with the Rogue One project, which I'm releasing on my birthday. So
Well,
listen out for the wording of a couple of things in there, and I'll give you some kind of clue.
by the way, for people who haven't followed, your birthday is Sunday, just 2 days from now. I look forward to seeing that, and a happy birthday to you ahead of time. I know we don't normally touch base on weekends, but be happy to celebrate your birthday this Sunday. It's a big deal. And is this
Thank you,
25? I
Santa.
think.
I'm 25 this year.
Yes. So you're 24. You'll be 25. It's still less than half my age. I'll be 55 this summer. So 25. Happy birthday, Meg. It's very exciting.
Thank
And
you.
you have family coming in. You're going to spend some time with folks.
Yeah, I think we're going to a spa hotel.
Ooh, a spa hotel. Treat yourself. Excellent.
Indeed.
Excellent.
I should address Nikki's question from earlier. She said, Meg, is that a pussy hat? Oh, like those was that the activist that wore the No.
Oh,
It's
oh,
it's
oh,
just
oh.
just
No.
a pink
It's a pink
cowboy hat.
Right,
Nothing to
right.
do with that.
Nothing to do with it. Oh my goodness, Meg. So yeah, I saw other folks mentioning Saw Gerrera. Now, there was a Hasbro uh, release this week of new characters, new figures that they're releasing. And the Black Series Saw Gerrera, did you see that?
I did. That came up on my Twitter feed.
It is a fantastic figure, one of the best that they've done, in my opinion. It looks
I
it
agree.
looks it looks tremendous. I know that several of our friends here were able to pre-order that. You're not much of a like Black Series figure collector or anything like that. You're mostly Funko, correct?
Yeah, I'm mostly Funko. I collect Funkos and pretty much like the old prequel trilogy action figures that George Lucas released. I kind of like, the excitement of collecting those older ones because they're not in production anymore and they get rarer and rarer.
Right, right. Yeah, so I think that's a great figure, and the timing of that release is interesting because of what they chose, the the version of Saul Guerrera they chose to release in the Black Series. Um,
Mhm.
they took the Forrest Whitaker model, and it looks wonderful from Rogue One, of course, but we could possibly see Forrest Whitaker version in Andor.
Oh, he's
The
confirmed. Diego Luna confirmed
Yes.
he's in it.
So it makes sense that that Black Series figure would be there, and that we would get more um, collectors after the figure when we get him in more than just Rogue One, right?
I think he's a very fascinating character. I spoke about him in a Patreon video, and I speak about him more in my Rogue One video on Sunday. I kind of go into like an analysis of the parts of his life we haven't seen yet. How did he get his injuries? When are they going to show us that? Are they going to show us that? And I think the Bad Batch and Andor are probably a good place to expand his story somewhat.
Yeah, and I've been doing a rewatch of Rebels, halfway into season four, or we're about 10 episodes into season four, and Saw Gerrera in the beginning part of season four is a
Hmm.
big influence on, well, I think throughout the series to some degree, influence on Ezra, and it's in season four where Ezra kind of uh, figures out where
Yeah,
that group of partisans is versus the rebellion, right?
exactly. Because he doesn't really understand why other rebels like Hera see him as extreme, and it all came down to that Kyber crystal episode with the Death Star laser.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then him and Sabine were like, "Yeah, we've got to get out of here because."
right, right, because he doesn't care who he kills, if it's going to move ahead the cause, and
Exactly.
but then right after that, so yeah, he chooses there. It's very clear. That is the episode I was thinking of, and then I was watching episode this week where Ezra brings up Saul again because the Empire had taken over um, Ezra's planet. Why did I just lose it? Um,
Lothal.
Lothal. Yeah, the Empire took over Lothal, and he goes back and he sees just how bad it is, and it's worse than Ezra ever thought it would be. And he's like,
Hmm.
Saul Guerrero was right. Blah 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 blah.
He
Right?
said, "I'm starting to see what Saul was saying."
Yeah. So at the same time, now again, for folks that haven't watched Rebels, it's absolutely worth your time. And as we've said, it's not required viewing to see, say, Rogue One, or certainly not Rogue One, but even Andor coming up or Kenobi coming up. But I think that the more familiar you are with Rebels, the more it will inform a lot of what you see. And even the Ahsoka series, which is coming out next year, it's going to help inform that as well. So it's absolutely worth your time to watch and to get familiar with these characters. And we're going to get more Saul Guerrero, for example, but we could possibly see somebody like Ryder. I would love to see Ryder, and not that he's well, he is an influential and key figure in Rebels, but he's not a lead, right? He's a supporting character.
Hmm.
So really good, really good. Mike's in season 2, watching for the first time. Oh, Mike Porter, you're just getting to the good stuff. Season 2 of Rebels is when it starts getting really good, and I would say it just gets better and better from here out. So very good. Is Lord Vader in Rebels?
He
Yes,
is
he is.
in one of the most important episodes.
Well, yes, and not only towards the end of season 1, he shows up as well. So
He does,
I think
but I think we can
he's
agree that Twilight of the Apprentice is
yeah,
the biggest appearance.
yeah. Season 3, right? Uh,
Is that season? Yes. Is it
yeah,
end of
pretty
season
sure.
2, end of season 3?
Yeah. Now I'm wondering, is it the end of season 2? Is that how season 2 ends? I was thinking it was season 3, but I could be off. I could be off. Look at us, kind of getting lost in the weeds on Rebels. It's
It's the
really good
best
content.
animated show.
It is really good. It really is. The season 1 of Rebels, the first half of it, to me, was very very difficult to watch. Uh, in fact, I quit watching, but it wasn't until I made it after that first half that it started getting better, and then season 2 definitely reinforced it. Um, the next article came to us from our friend Jason Ward at makingstarwars.net. Will there be a post-credit scene in Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi? So, you guys, if you don't want any spoilers for Kenobi, you don't want to know anything that's going on ahead of time, now's the time to click away. We truly love you guys and appreciate your support. We love hanging out with you, but we don't want to spoil it if you are trying to avoid those. So uh, we're going to talk about that now. The I low-key don't want to know this. Vader Slayer, Sheev. The post-credit scene. It's rumored to be. It's going to be at the end of episode 2. So during celebration, the Friday, May 27th, they're going to release the first 2 episodes of Kenobi, and there's a mid-credits, post-credit scene, right? So it'll start. There you
Mhm.
go, Mike's. Let me do this. Let me do this.
As
I've
long
got
as
a
we don't
spoiler warning.
gesture any physical things, then it's safe to watch it while muted. But if
I
Santa
will.
just starts to enact the whole scene, then we've got a problem.
I'll remove the spoiler warning when we get past it. How about that? So so right after episode 2, the mid credits, there's going to be a scene from the Bacta tank
Indeed.
uh, where we see Anakin open his eye, like he. So it's sort of like an awakening, if you will. And there's been some concern about it. I've heard Thor Skywalker and some other people say, well, wait a second. If Leia's presence causes an awakening, would that be a problem? Because we see him interact with her so many times in the original trilogy and doesn't have any clue that she's his daughter or that she has any force sensitivity when he's interrogating her or anything like that. Would it cause problems? And I don't think that it's Leia that he senses. It's Kenobi when he kind of it, it at the end of episode 2, Kenobi's hope is restored, and he begins to reconnect to the Force in a much stronger way, and that is the moment that kind of wakes up Anakin, right, Vader.
Yeah, he says
And
basically that, after Leia and Obi-Wan get out of the shenanigans where Kenobi saves her on the planet of Daiyu, then, Vader in the Force has a little tickle in his pickle, and he senses, this bitch is still around. And so we see Anakin's eye open, and then apparently at the start of episode 3, he puts on all the gear, and he starts to ruin everyone's day.
There'll be no ice cream on his watch either.
No.
Right. So yeah, episode 3 is supposed to start with him getting his limbs reattached, and the pain involved in that is him out crying. But then the search is on. So that's and from what I remember, I think it's episode 3 where he and Kenobi maybe spar the first time. Towards the end of episode 3, and then it's of course episode 6 when they spar the second time, and I think it's episode 5 where we get the flashback to Kenobi remembering training with Anakin during the Clone Wars era, and you're going to be de-aged Ewan McGregor and de-aged Hayden Christensen acting out the scene of them training in the Jedi Temple back during Clone Wars. Should be a great episode.
It sounds awesome. Episode 5 is also where we get Qui-Gon as a Force voice.
For voice, and then in 6 we actually get him as an apparition.
Exactly.
He's able to come
in
back.
Obi-Wan's
the first
cave.
time we get to see, the first time we get to see Qui-Gon in Force Ghost form, which will be super cool as well, right?
I think it'll be good.
Right. I do too. There's a couple other stories that came out later in the week, and just yesterday, this story came out about Epic Games is teasing Star Wars content for Fortnite, possibly a Fortnite season of Star Wars. I know as Santa that kids ask for Fortnite stuff all the time. It is nonstop Fortnite when I'm Santa Claus visiting with children. And
kids these days and their Netscapes and their web phones.
Meg, I love you so much.
And their touchpads and their computers.
I think this is great. A lot of people talk about how Star Wars toys don't sell anymore, and we talk about it that kids are asking for like Fortnite all the time. Fortnite, and the other one is the world that they build with the big blocks. Why can't I remember that right now?
Minecraft.
Plays it all the time. Minecraft. Yes, Minecraft. Minecraft and Fortnite. All day long when I'm doing Santa visits, I hear Minecraft and Fortnite, and there's actual disagreements and arguments among children about which of these games is more in their space. Roblox, yes, I get lots of questions for that as well. But as it is with Fortnite, having a Star Wars season could help bring in a bunch of kids that to Star Wars from a different source. I absolutely love this, and I love that this season, if they do a Fortnite season, that I might be able to visit kids this year and hear them ask for Star Wars Fortnite stuff. That would be awesome. Any concern that in the Fortnite skins you see Rey and the Sith Trooper? Does that bother you at all?
Not at all. You know, I'm one of those people that even though the sequels weren't my favorite trilogy by any means, I don't go out of my way to hate on them. I tend to focus on what I like.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Like, um, although I'm doing a little project with you that has
We
made
are.
me focus a whole lot on something I don't like. but,
That
but
sounded
it's in
so
a
wrong.
way. it's oh, didn't think about that. Sounded better in my head before it came out, I suppose. uh, but uh, but it's even in that, and I've been watching Attack of the Clones over and over, guys. It's my least favorite Star Wars movie. It's one that I tend to get grumpy when I watch it because it just annoys me. And doing these rewatches has given me more things to be more grumpy about. So that's not been fun. But I've been looking for content that I do enjoy, and I've been able to get some appreciation for Attack of the Clones that I've never had before. So it's with the sequel trilogy as well, and I really appreciate what you say there. That um, there are portions of the sequel trilogy that annoy you a good bit. I'm aware of that, but there are also pieces that you're able to focus on to enjoy rather than just
For sure.
slam on them all the
Like
time.
I'll say right out the gate that even though I dislike the sequels, I think Rey as a character is pretty decent. She could have been better written in my opinion, but I don't think she's a bad character.
I agree. Look, I love Ray, and I've said this over and over, and I don't know if Melvin's still, in the chat if he's still listening in, but I've said it over and over that Ray is my favorite character from all of the movies. I absolutely love her character. Even the amount that I love her character, I think that there were missed opportunities. And I say that about the sequels all the time, that as much as I appreciate and I love rewatching the sequels, there is so much missed opportunity that I am looking forward to getting additional content with those characters in that time frame that allows us to explore some of those opportunities that were missed. I would absolutely love to see it expanded on, and to see them bringing these characters into things like Fortnite or
Mm.
even the Lego Star Wars holiday specials, that kind of thing. I love that they're using those characters, and it gives me hope that we will get some content um, at some point. But I tend to agree with folks saying that um, it's probably not going to happen right away.
I think it needs a bit of time. Just let it sit before they continue those kind of stories. And I think in a way, if they end up doing it well, it could salvage, at least to an extent, the perception of that era within Star Wars. I think for me,
Yeah.
the reason I was so frustrated with episode 9 in particular, and this is I'm gonna talk about positive things to do with the sequels for once instead of crapping on them. But like in episode 7, the whole story with Rey is just a poetic nod towards Luke, a big dreamer from a shithole planet, and she's counting the days her parents have been gone. She's eating scraps of portions for being a scavenger all day. I really liked that kind of like think big, underdog dreamer who dreams to have a better life, dreams to find belonging. And then in episode 8, they took a story in kind of a logical progression and being like, you might be a nobody, but anyone can have the Force. And for me, episode 9 just killed all of that by being like, well, you're kind of related to Palpatine, and so unless you're a Palpatine or a Skywalker, you don't really have a place in this galaxy. And that for me just contradicted. It felt like a tug of war between Ryan and JJ.
Yeah, I I agree with you there. I wanted her to be Ray Nobody in a really bad way. I do think that it's uh, Nikki. I've been watching these folks in the chat trolling me. Dominic loves to do it, and he's picked some of the quotes from earlier live streams that he keeps bringing just to just to tweak me. And here's here's Nikki. Answer me. I demand it. Um, uh, Again, kind of playing off of one of our frequent live chat visitors in the chat, but I will actually pick this up. But I understand tying her into being a Palpatine and then her taking on the Skywalker last name. I understand what they were going for there, and I don't have huge problems with it. It's just disappointing to me. I wanted it to play out differently. I wanted her to embrace being Ray Nobody and embrace the new family that she had through Finn and Poe and the rest. That she would just embrace that that's her family, and she doesn't need to be a Skywalker or a Palpatine. That's what I really wanted for me personally.
And I'm going to give you a really hot take here and say that if Rian Johnson had done episode 9, it may not have been every fan's favorite ending to the Skywalker saga, but it would have at least been consistent. And I kind of feel like there is legitimacy to the argument that Rian was quite selfish in finishing episode 8 in a very conclusive way, killing off Snoke and whatever else. But one thing he did really correctly compared to JJ, and this is not going to sit well with some people, is he stayed true to George Lucas's vision for what the Force is. And heck, he even acknowledged the prequels. JJ did not acknowledge the prequels whatsoever, but he had Luke say in the rise of their power, or whatever it was, they allowed Palpatine to, whatever that quote is.
Right.
But he acknowledges it.
Right.
It felt Star Warsy, and he understood what the Force is. It was kind of nice, and it could have been a much better film than it was. But if he had done episode 9, I think we would have been like, oh, okay, I see where he was going with it. But JJ spent half the movie just retconning episode 8.
Well, yes and no. I think that JJ built upon some of the content in 8. I don't think he necessarily retconned it. I do think that he tried to answer some problems that he should have just let go, right? But and Nikki is right here as well, that the whole having the entire trilogy happen over the course of like 1 year, I think was not great. Not great. Although, like the prequels, there's a 10-year gap between the Phantom Menace and uh, Attack of the Clones, but in the original trilogy, how much time passed between
I think it's
A
3
New
years.
Hope? Yeah, so it's
It's
not
not
that
long.
much time, right? But the sequels would have done better with um, more space, and that could have helped. Again, I freely admit the sequels had room to to do things that they didn't, and that it's a lot of missed opportunities. And we can all pick on things that we don't necessarily uh, enjoy. I think from all of them, right? There's things you could pick on from all of them, but um, not to focus on them and let them affect your entire mood about Star Wars. And when I see things like that Fortnite, and I see Ray being a part of it, and uh, I saw an absurd thing this week on Twitter that says they won't buy Lego Star Wars unless there's a way to eliminate the sequels from the game. I'm like, come on, it's kind of crazy. So, um,
I will say,
anyhow,
though, at this point, I'm more upset about the Book of Boba Fett lessening the emotional impact of the season 2 Mandalorian finale than I am about the sequels.
uh, well, I don't know that I feel the same on that. The biggest issue I have with Book of Boba Fett, including those Mandalorian episodes, is that they're couched in the middle of the Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett. I never expected or wanted Grogu to stay with Luke for any amount of time, just a hot minute and be gone. Like I keep hearing people say that Grogu should have stayed with Luke for at least a season, that they should have spent this much time apart. He should have stayed with Luke for at least a year or two. That's just not the story. It's not the story they set out to tell. That's not the story they intended to tell. It was never going to be the story. The story was also always about Grogu uh, building a father-son relationship with Din and choosing to stay with Din. It was always going to be that. And for him to go back with Luke more than a day or two, and I think he stayed longer than that, is longer than I expected. I expected him to go right back within a day or two, but I think he stayed with Luke for some matter of weeks. So
Dominic is stirring the pot.
I know he is. I know he is.
Star Wars Theory doesn't bother people eating ice cream in Lego Star Wars. I feel like Star Wars Theory is a Jedi. I'm much more of a Sith. We have more balls to,
or,
you know,
or
to do the unthinkable.
Just trying to clean up. They're just trying to clean up the debris, keep the floors clean. But
Exactly.
Nope.
And part of the video, in part of the video, you'll see me talk about, because Yaddle was like the sweeping police. So every time I see a road sweep, I just smack the broom out their hand. But then suddenly, if you look really close, it just grows back into their hand. It's like they pulled it out their ass. I don't know where else they're getting it from.
Oh, that's fantastic. I have another. I saw. Oh wait, I think we already talked about this a little bit. Let me bring this in because there's a bonus question at the end I want to talk about before we wrap up today. We talked about the Favroni, right? They could have called this the
Favroni with
Favroni.
pesto, a perfect dish.
That could have been the name of the panel. Could have been the Favroni panel. We did talk about the Mando Plus panel, but then there's also this bit that I Josh kind of ignored this morning, but I'm super excited for. I know you're excited for as well. The Bad Batch panel on Sunday at Celebration.
I was so happy to see this.
Yeah,
Over the moon.
Me too.
Finally getting
Me
some Bad
too.
Batch.
And I want to know when we're getting season 2. It seems more and more unlikely that it's going to happen in this year. However, it's not impossible. I think there's some opportunity to kind of fit the Bad Batch into this calendar year if they maybe play with the way that they release the episodes. Meaning,
I'm
maybe
gonna
they release more
put
than one a
out.
week.
Okay, so this is my prediction.
You're going to put out. Did you just say that? You
Does
did.
that mean something in America?
It does.
Oh gosh, it does, doesn't it?
It does.
All right, I'm gonna put out.
Somebody needs to clip that. Meg saying, "I'm going to put out." Okay.
All right, so my prediction is that on May the 4th we'll get a Bad Batch trailer.
Ooh.
Or at least some kind of announcement, and then they can use the panel to hype it up and give us like a final trailer. So we'll get a teaser on May the 4th and then final trailer. I think that would be perfect because then you can release it in August alongside Andor, which, by the way, story-wise will work really well.
Yes. I was thinking, we're very much on the same sort of panel or page, because they could release even in between, like they could fit in the Bad Batch before Andor if they wanted to. Again, if they do more than one episode a week, like, because they're 30-minute episodes, 20.
They could put it out tonight, episodes. But they don't. Bob Chapek stroking his archives of things that fans want.
Dominic's giving away your secret identity.
Star Wars MEG-a.
Yeah, because
sometimes I call myself Megan in my videos just to throw people off.
I hear it every now and then. You'll close off, you'll say Megan, and I'm like, oh, But you've told this story before. You have a friend who hasn't put together Star Wars Meg
Oh
is her
yes.
friend Megan, right?
All right. So this is actually a true story. So I've got a friend called Beth, and I don't know if she's, ever comes across this, but she's a huge Star Wars fan, and Star Wars was like part of the bedrock of our friendship. And she knows about Star Wars Meg, but hasn't put it together that that's me. So the last time we met up, we went for lunch, and she was talking about some of the YouTubers she watches, and how this Star Wars Meg person did a video that she enjoyed. And I kind of just was like, what would happen if I just sat here and agreed? And so I did. And we went our separate ways that afternoon. And here we are.
Here we are. She's her friend Megan. Uh, she hasn't put together. Beth's friend Megan hasn't put together that one of her best friends is Star Wars Meg,
Which I think is really
I,
funny.
I think it's hilarious. I think it's absolutely hilarious. And but she just told Beth just now. So if Beth ever said like, "Oh, I see Star Wars Meg's doing a video," I'll listen in, and she'll be like, "What?"
It's something that I didn't really think about.
Yeah, thanks goodness she didn't wasn't like real critical. Can you believe?
Because if you think about it, she's one of the only people that has seen a face reveal.
That's right.
Knowingly.
That's right. That's right. I think I could take out the spoiler warning now. So if anybody's still
Actually,
listening,
I think Matt Rissman has seen my face accidentally.
Oh,
He came across something online before I was Star Wars Meg, and so but he's one of like 5 people.
Matt's got the tea.
Matt's got the tea. I want to answer a question from Star Force One of my favorite Star Wars YouTubers.
Yes, Star Force One. You mentioned we know that he helped you out with a video while you were on holiday once before,
and we still need to collaborate again.
Yeah, I think you mentioned tapping him to cover for you again sometime. Yeah.
Indeed, and vice
So what was the
versa.
question? Yeah.
His question was something along the lines of why there's so many gaps in the year with all the content slated. Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
It's a good question. They've kind of missed a lot of opportunity. Like, they could have released the Bad Batch Season 2 in March.
Yeah, absolutely. We could be watching Bad Batch now, right?
There's could be.
No reason we couldn't. But yeah,
this would be episode really 8, nice. I think.
Right. It would have been great. But they don't. And what's more maddening is that they don't tell us anything. We're just left in the dark to guess and speculate. And to some degree, I understand the speculation, how it helps drive interest, because anybody can guess anything, and you may or may not be right. You're not wrong. It's just all speculation. At the same time, nobody knows anything, so it's frustrating. It's frustrating for us who we just want to know, like, when are we getting Bad Batch Season 2? And we're just completely in the dark. Hopefully on the 29th, right? If my math is right, the 29th, we will find out.
We will.
All right. So
I do agree, though. This is like the perfect time to have a show.
I agree. A couple other, a quick announcement that Jason Presson, Polyhedral Paradise, 1 week from today, is doing a 24-hour live stream to raise awareness for mental health. And it's a charity live stream. He'll be starting in the afternoon here in the U.S., later in the evening for you in Europe. But he'll be going for 24 hours, and we're going to try to support his live stream. I know we've been chatting about it, Meg, myself, and Jason Ward. We're trying to lock down a time. We're gonna tentatively, and we've kind of put it on this schedule to be in the evening on the 27th, or not 27th. Oh my goodness. I just, the 15th. It's quite late for you, midnight for you, Meg, but we're going to try to get Jason Ward, myself, you, and I've also reached out to Coach and Nick from Echo Base Network, who have stated an interest, and we'll do an hour of Star Wars chat. And along that line, Jason Ward is releasing another leak today. He's releasing a Kenobi leak, probably as we speak. Jason
He doesn't
Ward
leak, he squirts.
He squirts. Jason is releasing another leak for Kenobi today. So look for that. And then he is also promoting Polyhedral Paradise Live next Friday, the charity live stream. So he just dropped it, Matt says. So I don't want to take anything away from Jason. I want to get to his show. I know he normally starts about this time, so he's probably already started. So we should, the charity stream starts on the 15th and goes through the 16th, 15th and 16th. Real quick, I saw this morning you on Twitter, you posted your favorite characters from each trilogy. And I thought it would be fun to just kind of touch base.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and from the prequels, and again, this I want to be a little bit short so that we can go over and catch Jason Ward's stream over on MakingStarWars.net. But from the prequels, for me, it's an easy choice. We have a difference in opinion here. For me, the easy choice on the best character from the prequels is Obi-Wan Kenobi. You said Palpatine.
I think he's just a brilliant politician, and I think reading Darth Plagueis, which probably should have been called Darth Sidious when you think about it, I think he's my favorite character in all of fiction just because of how elaborate he is, and there's not really a villain that is so fleshed out where you can understand every motive along the way, and kind of like an exaggerated form of like political evil that we might see in the real world.
I agree that from a villain standpoint, he's one of the best fleshed out ones in all of cinema. There are some other great villains in other franchises, but in all of cinema, definitely one of the best, if not the best. But in the prequel movies, I don't know that he is featured enough for me to say he's my favorite in those three movies.
I might be biased because of the memes.
Could be. From the original trilogy, who did you say is your favorite character?
Luke
Skywalker. And for me, from the original trilogy, I'd have to say for me it's tough. It's either Luke or Darth Vader.
That's a good one. I actually agree with you.
I'm kind of split. Darth Vader.
I think you're right. Darth Vader is actually a good character in the originals.
You get his redemption, right? And even at the time, we didn't get the fall of Anakin Skywalker, but you have this super imposing villain that just the sound of him in the room, right? That iconic respirator, right? Would strike fear. Right, you hear that, and you're like, "Oh, things are about to get bad." But then to see him redeemed at the end, right? And I just want to see you with my eyes once before I die. You know, that is a huge, huge moment. So I have to go with Vader in Luke. I'm split on the sequel trilogy. You had a couple of choices.
So for 7
really
and 8,
cheeky to a degree.
Yeah, for 7 and 8, it's got to be Poe Dameron, just because Oscar Isaac is so believable, and I kind of feel like every time you see Poe, he kind of just carries the whole resistance on his shoulders.
Yeah, I
think Poe was actually the best part of the sequels, all in all. But for Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, I would say C-3PO. The comedy is brilliant, and I kind of like that Anthony Daniels got to reprise his role in a way he enjoyed, because it's well known that he did not like the prequels and thought his character was really mistreated in Attack of the Clones. But he loved the sequels, and that's really wholesome.
And you know that's one of my major complaints on the prequels is C-3PO. So, and I did enjoy C-3PO in Rise of Skywalker as well, and in the sequels as a whole. But again, my favorite character in the sequels is easy. It's definitely for me. It's Rey. She's
Fair
my
enough.
favorite across the entire saga in the movies. But absolutely, Mike, who's at the door? It's people coming in and out of the driveway, Mike. So that's our driveway alarm. So
Dominic.
Dominic is fantastic. Love you, my friend. I do want to get to the Mike Porter dad joke, and then we can hop over to Jason Ward's live stream where he is dropping another Kenobi leak. So the Mike Porter dad joke is a Star Wars version here. Did you know that Palps liked his new bathroom?
No.
Because now he has unlimited shower.
That's a good one.
Mike Porter.
I enjoyed that one.
I did too. It's a perfect right after our discussion of those. So appreciate you guys being here. Meg, happy birthday again. I hope you
Thank
have
you,
a
Santa.
wonderful day Sunday. And anything else before we close out?
I think that's the perfect way to end it. Look out for my Rogue One video on Sunday, and then tomorrow you'll see me probably covering the news of the day and then some Lego footage.
Perfect. I look forward to seeing Yaddle taking care of all the broom sweepers. So
Indeed.
you guys all have a wonderful day. Thank you all for being here. And until next time, my friends, Merry Christmas. And may the force be with you always. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Hot dang! Talking through the news from a galaxy far away. Toys and book reviews, positivity all the way. Come and join the fun, subscribe and like away. Movie news and show reviews, it's like Christmas every day. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa show. Ho, 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 ho. Hot dang, ladies and gentlemen, you're in